Okay, so I'm going to find the relative extrema for number 29. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the first derivative. Okay, so I have 4x to the third minus 12x squared. Okay, now I'm going to find the second derivative. So the second derivative is 12x squared minus 24x. Okay, so to find my critical values, I go back to the first derivative and I set it equal to 0. Okay, there's a 4x squared in common, so I'm going to take it out. I have x minus 3. Set both factors equal to 0, and I get 0 and positive 3. Okay, so now I'm going to jump right into the second derivative to test to see if I have a relative minimum or maximum. All right, so I'm going to plug 3 in first. So when I plug 3 into the second derivative, I get a positive number. Because I have a positive number, I have a relative minimum at x equals 3. All right, so now let's check 0. When I plug 0 in, I get 0, which means that the second derivative test fails. So I have to now go back to the first derivative to perform the first derivative test. So I'm not going to even bother putting 3 on my interval because I already know what 3 is. So I'm going to put 0. And I'm going to test from negative infinity to 0. And I'll test 0 to 3, just so I don't have any confusion. All right, so when I plug in negative 1 into the first derivative, I get 4 times negative 1 cubed minus 12 times negative 1 squared. So I have a negative number minus a positive number. This is negative, which means that my graph is decreasing. Okay, now I'll plug 1 in. And here I get 4 minus 12, which is negative, which means the graph is decreasing. So that means that x equals 0 is not going to be a relative minimum or maximum because it doesn't change from increasing to decreasing or decreasing to increasing. All right, so I do have a relative minimum, though, at x equals 3. So now I go back into the original function, and I plug in x equals 3. So I have 3 to the 4th minus 4 times 3 to the 3rd plus 2. All right, so I have 3 to the 4th. So I have 81 minus 27 times 4 plus 2. So I have 81 minus 108 plus 2, which gives me negative 25. So my relative minimum is 3, negative 25.